What's up everyone, it's Ojh&x, we're back at it again and I'm going to talk you through my Molten Core run where I played with two different guildmates. The first one, we did the first 3 bosses, then he had a phone battery issue, and then the second one helped get through the final 4 bosses. The first guildmate, similar level to me, maybe slightly lower, and then the second guildmate is definitely a little bit lower, I think mostly around the 24 kind of mark. Anyway, we're not on voice comms for any of this, so I'm going to talk you through the replays. There are some stuff that we did quite well, there are other things that we didn't do very well at all and where the coordination was lacking dramatically, but I'll talk you through what went well, I'll talk you through what didn't go well, and we'll hop straight into it against Lucifron. So both me and my guildmate are both playing Sylvanas. That's just the way that it happened. Like I say, we're not on comms, we didn't do much chatting at all really, we just kind of went for it. So the mechanics on this one then is you've got the overlapping purple circles. As you can see, that is from the mini bosses. The mini bosses will mind control any of your minis that go into that, who will then become enemy and start attacking you. So I executed the one on the left. If we had been talking to each other, myself and my guild partner, then we would have both executed the one on the left or the right, and then we would have made some progress to that siege tower, but we didn't. I executed the one on the left, he executed the one on the right, so now we need to cycle around to another execute individually to kill our own sides. So a bit of better coordination there would have helped us. But anyway, no harm done, and we've taken both of those towers. So Banshee's going to come in useful on this one for you to be able to take control of the fire elementals, molten giants, whatever you want really. Unbounds are going to help out as well. You'll be able to spam those onto the boss, be it unbounds, well pegs, safe pilot, whatever you want really. And Sylvanas does do a pretty good job on this one because of the piercing arrow and the AI having things like necromancer and spiderlings. So with both of the mini bosses down, we can start making some progress towards Lucifron. And just keep an eye on when you're about to phase the boss. Don't go spending loads of gold or all of your gold, because when Lucifron phases, both the siege towers will be taken back. Both of the mini bosses will respawn, so if you can, keep hold of your execute for when that happens. So there we go, we phase Lucifron. We've almost kind of skipped this middle phase just because of the unbounds that we had there. I don't know if you can skip the phase, but anyway, the mini boss on the left hasn't walked down towards the siege tower, so I've executed it where it stands. The ghoul has walked into that purple circle and has become mind controlled immediately. Again, if we had any coordination between us, we would have taken out one side then the other, but hey, it's absolutely fine. So this is just going to be a rinse and repeat. I don't know if we'd have executed Lucifron if we would have skipped a phase here, or if we would have ended up with double mini bosses or something. I don't know, but we didn't do that. We went about it in a very orderly fashion and just took the mini bosses, and we did it properly, I suppose. I don't know if you can skip it or not. Anyway, we don't really need to do much damage to Lucifron at all. So I don't know why I think I'm holding on to my execute here, thinking that he's going to phase and then I'm going to execute the mini boss, but realistically maybe I should have just executed Lucifron. Hey, look, we got there in the end with the power of the unbounds and the fire elemental and all that sort of stuff. So I've dropped an execute immediately. Let's get some mining done. Cycled back round, drop some of my cheaper cost minis, cycle back round, execute that mini boss, and then this is just a case of wrapping this one up then. So our guildmate has got some harpies coming in there. We're going to distract with Quillbore. There's well pegs in there as well. I think that's the end of that. This is really not too much of a difficult fight at all. We could have made it even easier with a bit of coordination, but on to the next one. And into the next one on Magmadar. My guildmate is using Ken, I'm using Chaga for no real reason at all. Just trying out some new, I don't know if there's like meta tactics, but just choosing a leader and a composition that I felt happy with. So my guildmate on the left there has already taken that tower. Huntress, absolute beast in all the walks of life. So that is a job well done over there. And very shortly, I would like to hope that we will have the tower on the right. Witch Doctor, just absolutely awesome. Prowler coming in there. I think Prowler with the Beast Mastery, possibly. And then the main point of this is going to be these hounds in front of Magmadar, because the hounds will resurrect each other. So you do need to kill them ideally at the same time, or keep them occupied, or whatever you might want to do with that. And then when you face Magmadar, the hounds will resurrect, and there will be another hound that comes along as well. So as you can see, Magmadar is rezzing the hounds. All the hounds have rezzed, and there should be 4 of them this time. A good tactic on this one is to use your Quillbore to turn Magmadar around, because he does have a big frontal, or you can play your Quillbore in between all of the hounds, group them all together, and then drop and execute on all of them, as I just demonstrated there. So we should be able to make fairly light work of these hounds now. One of them has gone for a stroll. One of them is hammering absolutely everything. Look at that hound. He's earning his money, earning its money there. Anyway, so if we can group them together, then like I say, that's optimal. I think here I'm going to drop a Quillbore in a minute, and I think it gets absolutely destroyed. So solid plays from me. I'm not just going to execute. So I've executed there. I probably wouldn't do that. And then I've played Whelpegs right in front of Magmadar, and they've got battered by the big frontals. So don't do that. Don't do that under any circumstances. That is not the way. That is not the way to do it. But I'm going to execute the 3 there. It's pushed Magmadar into the final phase. So there we go. We've now got 5 of the beasts up, 5 of the core hounds up. We did have Whelpegs down. We had a half decent Quillbore in there that time to distract Magmadar, turn him the other way around, and at this stage we're in a bit of a spell cycle. Don't forget to pick up the gold chests as you go. You can defend your siege towers if you want. Go for unbounds, go for spells. At this stage, it's we've got plenty of health on our tower, and execute coming in, getting loads of value on that, and that's pretty much going to be the end of Magmadar. Let's get on to Wing 2, Gehennas and Shazzrah. Essentially, you're going to be fighting, let's call them the blue one and the red one. So you're going to need to fight the blue one for a bit until it's down to, I can't remember the exact health percentage, but you're going to fight it a bit. I think it gets down to about 60-70% health, and then it teleports up to the top and stops patrolling this front area. Now, probably one of the best ways to go about this, I suspect, is going to be spells, because it does have a big area of effect damage that happens all the way around it. So if you do play unbounds, if you do try and distract or anything, you can see that big blast there. Looks like an arcane blast, big pulse coming out. He's going to kill everything that's around it. So the usual unbound tactic is not going to be as effective on this one as it is on others. So the aim of the game then is to, like I say, to take out the blue one. So the blue one will teleport up towards where the red one is, and then you can take out both of them from up there. The main thing to worry about on this one, which we'll see in a minute, is there are these illusions which are spawned by the red one. If we look now, it's going to spawn one there, and then there is kind of the flame circle, which is charging around the outside. Do not let that cast go off. Take something like a save pilot is perfect, as you've just seen. I think you can probably spell it as well, maybe something like a blizzard, but you want to interrupt that cast. Do not let that cast go off. Bad things will happen to you if you let that cast go off. So if you've got save pilot in hand, like I have now, then don't get too keen, don't get too excited in wanting to use up your save pilot, because you're going to want to save it, because there is another one of the illusions played on the left side. So I've got the save pilot with the burn talent. I've not gone for the invisible save pilot with the cloak. I've gone for the burn, and that's enough to take out that little mini there. So In fairness, we do make quite hard work of this one. I mean, look, we get it done with loads of time left, but we're just not very optimal in the way that we're going about it. But again, that's probably a communication issue, so definitely do get yourself on Discord with your guildmates, and you'll make this 10 times easier for yourselves, and you'll not be making all the mistakes, or all the, not mistakes, lack of coordination that we are going through. So as you can see, these illusions do spawn pretty quickly on the left and the right. You see the red mini-boss there, or the red main boss, sorry, who tracks from the left to the right, just spawning these. Do not, like I say, I can't emphasise this enough, do not let those casts go off. It will be a bad day for you. So, at this stage, there are no phases, no nothing. Both of the bosses are up at the top, and all we need to do is coordinate ourselves to go and kill them, essentially. I was cycling far too slowly, and then kind of like had to get round to my save palette pretty quickly. Tyrion really good on this one, obviously, because Tyrion can soak hits, but also if you've got the right talent, will give himself that immunity bubble when he reaches, I think it's 30% health. It gives him a chance to give himself a little bit of healing as well for those 5 seconds, so he'll absorb a couple of these like arcane blast looking shots. So that might be a good mini for you to use in this one. But yeah, we're slowly chipping away here. This is just going to be a matter of time before it's done. I've got an itchy nose. Might sneeze in a minute. Hopefully not. Yeah. There's not too much more to it. There's not too much more to say about this one. You've got to attack the blue one to start with, so it phases or teleports up to the back, and then you're just attacking some beefy, meaty bosses at that point. So I mean, what's to say? What's to talk about? Really, we're just chipping away, aren't we? There's not much else going on that I've not already said. Cycle back round to another save pilot, getting ready for that cast on the right hand side. That's going to come down, bang. That's taking out the Flame Waker, a bit of damage onto the boss, a little bit of a burn on the boss, and taking out that little illusion thing. And then I think we're getting a little bit. We realise that this is dragging on a bit now, so we're going to play some unbounds onto the boss. We've got the sneaky Murlocs coming around the right hand side that are going to do decent work for us. I haven't got any spells in this one. So again, if you're looking at my army composition, and there's things that I haven't played that often, possibly in this one, the Witch Doctor I don't think has had a great deal of play time. You might want to swap out the Witch Doctor for an Execute or a Blizzard or a Deep Breath, or something along those lines. But that is going to be the end of that. Quillboar's going to walk forward, just give her one big old smack with that mallet, and let's get on to the next one. So this is how one of our earlier attempts ended. How this didn't class as a win is beyond me. Look, Garr is clearly dead, but clearly Garr is not dead. And this is a boss that I've seen cause the most amount of difficulty for people pretty much out of the whole thing. So let's hop into our successful run. It did take us 3 or 4 attempts. I've got a different guildmate in this one. Let's hop into this one. Let's talk about some of the mechanics. Right, going up against Garr then. So, what's the best way of describing this? Garr will reclaim tower. Let's talk about the intermissions or the phasing. Garr will reclaim towers when you get to an intermission. So be prepared for that. Make sure that you've not spent all of your gold, because when it does come to the reclaim, the sooner you can get that done, the better, if you want to go about it this way. Now, I've seen some people who just actively defend for pretty much the entire time. I think that was my Quillball that I played there, which was absolutely horrendous, so let's not talk about that. Some people actively defend the entire time, and some people kind of go on the attack with unbounds, and a big kind of Thalnos army. You can use cheat death and all that sort of stuff if you want. But on this one, we are going to have a little bit more of a defensive approach. If we take some of the towers, then great, but we're going to use kind of unbounds, execute to chip Garr down. And as you can see, we are using the skeleton party with the Rime of Ritual to help us defend against what can be quite a lot of earth elementals when they do start walking down the far or the most left side of the map and the most right side of the map. And so yeah, Skeleton Party are going to do a really good job in helping us with that, so we don't need to concentrate really too much on you know, actively defending when we're going to have all these skeletons just passively chipping away and doing a good job for us. And then with any spare gold that we've got, we'll chuck some executes. We've got, like I say, Safe Pilot in there, we've got Quillbore, and we've got Maiev in this one for the kind of unbound rush, I suppose, that we're going to do in phase 3, which we'll talk about in a moment, because phase 3 there is damage also happening to your base, and it does become in this one a bit of a race against time, so having the unbounds and a decent spell in there will help you out. But at this stage we are just being really passive with it. We've got skeletons down on the left. We're going to drop a Maiev in there to try and get rid of that Darkspear Troll, because the Darkspear Troll is an absolute beast, and Maiev does not get the job done, and that'll be my fault. So not only have we played a Maiev in there, then we've also played a Quillbore, and we've also played a Safe Pilot, pretty much to take out a Darkspear Troll. So so yeah, that's not the best way of doing that. But the Skeleton Party played on the left, took out the Earth Elemental before we got any shots onto our base. So that part of the plan is working well. So try and, in this one, if you are going to go for the towers, then great. If you're not, then maybe take something like a Dark Eye Miner, so you can keep getting to some of these, you know, some of these mine cores. Because obviously keeping your economy ticking over is only going to be useful. And as you can see, we've phased Garr there, and you can see that rumbling effect around the towers. So those towers are all going to be reclaimed. So if you can, keep an eye on the health, keep an eye when there's going to be a keep an eye when there's going to be a phase change, and then you'll be prepared for that. So, like I say, as soon as I've got any spare gold in hand, I'm dropping an execute on Garr. That tower that we've got is still rumbling away, so we're going to send a prowler down there. So as soon as it's converted to an enemy siege tower, we will be in position to take it back and hopefully be able to stall off some of the attacks and make it a little bit less panicked in defence. So Maiev going in there, played a Quillbore on that tower just to put some poison on it to stop it from regenerating. We've taken a little bit of a damage lead. You do want to have a damage lead in this one because, like I say, at the end, this one gets pretty close. But the Skeleton Party's on the right and the left doing a great job. So a bit like if you use Skeleton Party for Onyxia, that when there's the phase change in the Earth Elemental spawn, that, you know, that defense is already set up, so you can just concentrate on you know, mining more gold, taking the siege towers back, dropping executes on Garr himself. You know, the defense is already set up for you. So keep your miners going down. Don't want to fall behind too much in the economy more. Like I said earlier, Dark Eye Miner might be a good one for this, or maybe if you've got Harpies with the mining talent, quite possibly. But we're doing a half reasonable job. But at this point, we've got Garr to within a fraction of phase changing, and we are actively going to do nothing about that. We're not going to phase Garr right now. We're going to wait until overtime, where we've got extra passive gold income. Because, like I say, this is just going to be a race against time at that point. We're going to be cycling minis. We're going to be but we're going to be cycling unbounds. Sorry, we're going to be you know, executing the boss, and that's all it's going to come down to. And we're just going to hope that we can damage Garr faster than he can damage us. So we're kind of just making a bit of a nuisance of ourselves here with contesting the towers and trying to make it so that we haven't got a horrendous defense to deal with at some point. Which we seem to be doing a half reasonable job of doing. Welpegg's doing a really good job, because there's not much in this that can attack air. 5 seconds to go. Welpegg's coming down. That flame burst should kick Garr over to the final phase, which it does. An execute coming down, and now we just got to go for it. we've just really got to go for it. So we want that Drake to get out of there. Quillboar's come down, Maiev has come down. As you can see with that kind of area of effect that's going on there, that when you play Maiev, it'll be instantly injured or instantly hurt. So we'll pop out of stealth so you won't get that ambush booster bonus. But at this stage, there's not much more to say apart from the fact that we're just dropping every single unbound that we've got and every single spell on Garr as quickly as we can, and we just about get this done in time. I am praying, where's my execute? I really want my execute. Where is it? It's getting a bit close, but it's not close enough because we do wrap this one up, and that is how we ended up eventually getting rid of Garr, who I think is probably the most difficult boss in Molten Core. Baron Geddon then, another pretty straightforward one, I think. I've gone for General Drakisath and with a Shaman, and we'll talk about how straightforward this one can be. So Baron Geddon is going to have a wander round in a clockwise fashion, use an unbound to go and grab that chest up on the left there. But the strategy is basically going to be to wait for Baron Geddon on a clock to get round to what will be the 3 o'clock position, or if you're on a compass, round to east, or just round to the right. Defend this first push that's coming through here. Things like Pyromancer are going to do a really good job of dealing with that gargoyle. And then General Drakisath to bring Baron Geddon in. And then we've got the Shaman there. Now, unfortunately, my guildmate's Chimera was like, nope, see you later. And went for a trip in the clockwise position. But don't worry about that. Don't worry about that at all, because you can play well pegged straight into lava. They burst immediately. We've got a Quillboar down to put some poison on it. We've got a Chimera down that's putting some poison on it as well. The Shaman plus General Drakisath have done an incredible job, and we've got an Execute which takes the Baron down to an absolute slither of health. And I think that another Execute coming down, and I think that the Baron gets done here with a Holy Nova spell. Bosh, that is how you do that. So quickly, I wouldn't bother, you know, obviously defend your base naturally. Don't forget to grab the chest on the left hand side, but just wait for Baron Geddon to turn up, or wait for him to wander around to the right hand side. Get yourself a big tanky unit like General Drakisath, get yourself a Shaman in there to heal, and then you can play unbounds. Something like a Poison Chimera would be really good in there. You will just take out the Baron in absolutely no time at all. Golemagg then, another one that can be difficult, but we get this one done. I think it takes us just over a minute, and it's pretty much the power of the Chimera, the power of your air units on this one, and some, you know, some good spells as well. So let me just pause this here for a moment. The kind of lava strip here, and then there's another lava strip just up at the top there. If you touch anything on there, then you'll see in a minute there is a big old beastie dog, and that dog will charge down and start hammering away on whatever you've got there. So, but you can obviously fly over this, and it'll cause you no problems at all. But this kobold here may cause us some difficulties, in the same way that if you don't protect your rend, if you don't protect your rend when he's flying over the top, that if he does get dismounted, he's going to drop on here, and you're going to get the attention of the big old dog. What I would also say is, if we just pause it here, is that if you are going to play harpies, or, you know, or something, you know, some other flying minis in here, if you drop a Quillboar to distract, you know, which is the classic Quillboar distraction, then the next thing that Quillboar is going to do, if it survives, is walk forward straight onto here, and you're going to bring the big old dog back to the middle and maybe cause yourself some problems. So the way that I would deal with this is with Blizzard or Execute to get rid of the main air threat, which is going to be the Pyromancer. Don't worry about using your Quillboar here. You'll see that I use my Quillboar to distract the big old dog there. But that's as much as I'm going to say on that. Well, let's hop straight into this replay. We'll just rewind it. Let's get stuck. Let's get stuck into this one then. So I do play a Rend, who's going to fly over the top, and is also going to make light work of the Earth Elemental that the AI played. There. So as you can see, Kobold walks forward and gets ran over, smashed to bits by that boss. I'm going to blizzard everything that's in there. I heard there might well have been a sheep that came down. Execute. I really need to get rid of that second pyromancer, because if Rend had been dismounted a little bit earlier, as I said, we would have got the dog's attention. Not good at all. Double Chimera. Use Chimera on this one. I have just played my Quillboar off to the right as a distraction. That means that Rend can stroll across the middle there, just makes it in time before the Quillboar is killed. The double Chimera with the double poison talent. We got the Harpies in there. We did have a I think there was a Quillboar in there at one point. There was a Blizzard that came down. That's how you do this. It can be really difficult if you try and walk across the lava. Ragnaros then with the double Jaina for that extra spell value, because I think spells are going to be really useful in this one, especially Execute. You're going to see on this one we made a bit of a meal of it, because we ended up in a kind of to me to you with the towers, the siege tower that's on screen now and the one that's on the right. We won it, then we lost it, then we won it, then we lost it, and every time you lose it, if you don't know, if you lose the tower on the left, then a big flame wave comes down the right side and kills everything. If you lose the tower on the right, then a big flame wave comes down the left and kills everything. So you end up in a bit of a, like I say, a bit of a to me to you on that one. So to actually spawn Ragnaros, you need to kill the mini boss, I suppose, which like I say, we're not on comms at this point. That is, though, a terrible set of well pegs from myself. But essentially, a couple of executes are going to get rid of that mini boss up there, which will then spawn Ragnaros for you. Bandits on this one, really important, in my opinion. Get your bandits to that central chest as often as you can, especially with the lockpick talent. It's 4 gold for you, it's 4 gold for your partner, and it will just, if you're not winning, if you're not competing and you're not winning those chests, you're only going to make this much more difficult for yourself. So again, we both have the same idea, great minds think alike, but we've sort of double bandited for no reason. We've got shed loads of gold. Did we like get double gold there? Possibly. And because these siege towers were taken back, the flame wave came down the left and the right and killed any minis that we had there. Another great mini for this fight is going to be the Banshee. You'll be able to use Banshees on Fire Elementals or Molten Giants. As you can see, we're about to lose the siege tower on the left. I don't know if I pan round to it. Oh, we lost the siege tower on the right as well. There's the flame wave that comes down left, and there's the flame wave that came down on the right. So again, like I say, we are not as one here. We are not in complete harmony, but that's fine. So we spend probably a bit too long trying to reclaim here, and I am far too slow getting my Quillboar to come down. And as I was saying, you don't want to be losing your, you don't want to be missing out on the gold from those chests, and that is exactly what we did. But a Banshee doing a really good job for us in turning that Molten Giant around and turning a pretty big push into nothing. We took the tower on the right. Ragnaros will throw rocks from time to time at those siege towers. So Ragnaros took back the tower on the right, which put a flame wave down the left, which took back the tower that we had on the left and sent a flame wave down the right. Look, I'm not saying that this is by far not the optimal way of doing it, but we get it done. We one-shotted it, so learn from this. Have a bit more coordination about yourselves, and you'll have no problems. You'll have no problems at all. Learn from our mistakes. As I said, execute on this one's going to be really important, because on the phase change there will be mini bosses that spawn. I would attack them. I would just try and get as much execute value as you can, really. 2 executes, I think it's 2 executes, will get rid of the mini bosses. So just having that in hand is going to be really good. And towards the end, execute, well pegs and Quillboar are going to just basically finish this fight for us. So we're sort of, with 2 minutes to go, we're doing okay. But it's, like I say, we need to start contesting these chests in the middle, because we are making it much harder work for ourselves than it should be. Right, we've phased Ragnaros. He drops down into his little lava pit there, and then there is one of the mini bosses, level 29, front of the pack. Execute on all of that. Takes a massive chunk of health, and that for me is going to be the most optimal way of dealing with that. I wouldn't even try and you know, necessarily contest the, you know, keeping hold of the towers there. I think you just accept you're probably going to lose, you know, lose that tower, and then you can reclaim it at a later time. Got an execute coming down on that from our colleague there, and a second execute. He's going to get rid of that one as well. But that's not the end of the story, because, like I say, we do need to kind of do this again, and then the situation only gets worse when we phase Ragnaros again, eventually. So we're trying to stabilise at this point. Again, are we going to contest that chest? Just about, possibly, and we really need my execute to come round, do we? Yeah, I think we do. So, Ragnaros reappears. We've killed all, I think there's 4 of the, those kind of big mini bosses that spawn. So we killed all 4 of them. Ragnaros reappears, and we are at it again. And there's going to be a balance here between, are you wanting to contest the siege towers, or do you really need to start getting some damage down on Ragnaros? And for us, with the time remaining, coming into overtime, we really need to start putting some damage onto Ragnaros. So I played a Banshee on the left, and I distracted with a Quill Ball, because the Banshee would have got slapped by the Pyromancer. So Whelpegs do an amazing job on this one, and we're in overtime. We only just got into phase 2 when overtime started, and because of the animation of Ragnaros at the start of that, the Whelpegs have done a massive job for us, and have basically done the vast majority of phase 2 for us. I think that was an execute that came down there. And then you are going to want to keep hold of an execute for the mini boss that spawns. Get my mouse here. There's a mini boss that spawns around here somewhere, which will cause you some difficulties. Oh, spawned right in the middle, which spawns between yourself and that gold chest. So you are going to have to deal with this, and it's got quite a lot of health. So execute is going to be your best friend here. We've got a minute to go. We've got a phase that we need to get done. The fortunate thing is that Ragnaros doesn't disappear in this last phase. It doesn't wait for you to kill all of the mini bosses that have spawned. So you can keep attacking him. So Whelpegs are coming down. Quill Ball coming down to distract. Is going to get some poison onto Ragnaros. We fortunately got our bandits to that gold chest, so we got double on that. Whelpegs coming down, execute coming down. There might even been a Quill Ball that was in there as well. A blizzard to stall that, and that is the end of that. Was it perfect? No. Was it enough? Yes. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.